Welcome to Flattening the Curve, a podcast to disability advocates. Here, we knock down barriers, one story at a time. I'm your host, John Couchy. Let us begin. Today we are joined by our friends over at Broadway Grand Rapids. I am pleased to welcome Jen Pascual and Megan Distel. How are you guys doing today?
Great. Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Now, when we are talking entertainment in the city of Grand Rapids, going to a show is a great option, and most importantly, it's an accessible option. So can you guys tell us a little bit about how you make Broadway Grand Rapids accessible to all?
Well, our part of our mission is to create accessible options so everyone can enjoy theater and Broadway and come into DeVos Performance Hall and feel welcomed and included. And so we provide open caption services. We also have audio description, live audio description, and we have ASL interpretation. So for all of our shows, there are specific outlined performances that offer those accessible services. And then we have also a technology that can be used on a mobile device to provide closed captioning right at your seat, which is nice because then you can sit in any seat around the theater. And it's called GalaPro technology. It delivers the captions right to the user's mobile device. So that's also another service that we offer. And we're just trying to make it welcoming and really identify ways to make people feel that they can enjoy the show no matter what their circumstances in life are.
Yeah. And as you know, John, the performances are held at DeVos Performance Hall. And I know Disability Advocates of Kent County has long been a part of making sure through your test pilot program that everything there is available and accessible for people with disabilities. And so I think all of those things combined really make it an opportunity where everyone can be part of the show.
Yep, I know our friend of the podcast, Jackson Botsford, who also provided the artwork for our podcast, has done numerous accessibility reviews around the DeVos Performance Center to ensure that they have all the feedback needed to be accessible. Now, these accessible shows that you guys put on, it's pretty easy to distinguish which ones those are on the website when purchasing tickets.
Absolutely. So we identify that which performances have those services. And, we actually create a standing, so every Saturday matinee is an ASL interpreted performance. It's on our website, but also we try to communicate that ahead of time that the Saturday matinee is when you can expect to have the ASL, no matter if it's requested or not. It's always going to have interpreters at that show. For the Sunday matinee performances, we always have open caption and audio description, the live translation. So, we have a standing performance time that we try to dedicate for those services, and then we list them on the website as well. And then what I was mentioning earlier, the GalaPro technology can be used for any performance because, of course, it's just done through the user's device. So that doesn't have to be a specific performance. We have instructions in the lobby on signage as well as in the program on how to access those captions on your device.
How long has this technology been available to you guys?
We have had it available for the past year. So we launched it before Wicked last spring, and we wrote a grant, and Amway was generous enough to support us in this to get the technology and the infrastructure at DeVos Performance Hall to allow GalaPro to work. And so we've been using it for about a year. And we're really happy so far with some of the feedback that we're getting and people really being able to enjoy, the experience a little bit more.
We should also add, though, that it has language translation, too, which is a beautiful option for some of the shows. So if you are Spanish speaking, if it's your native language, it will help translate that, too.
Oh, that's wonderful because, yes, as much as ASL is a language barrier for so many, not being a native English speaker, having English as your primary or only language, having those options is fantastic. So you guys are really putting in a lot of intentional efforts to be inclusive to all.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I think it speaks to our relationship with Disability Advocates of Kent County too, because we've been learning
Absolutely.
from many of your test pilots, things that we wouldn't necessarily think about because that's not in our world, not in our space, but it's opened our eyes about things that we should be aware of.
Now, you see, audience, I say it all the time, and you hear this now from just about everybody who comes into this podcast. Nothing about us without us. It's so easy to assume what somebody might need.
Yeah.
But everybody who comes on who's worked with disability advocates gets their eyes open to something we might not have assumed.
Yeah, that's right. And really kind of to Jennifer's point, we started with our accessible programs about 5 years ago where we, prior to that, if someone requested language translation, we would provide it. But we had our eyes open that, you don't know what you don't know. And that's been almost the biggest barrier. And so by working with Disability Advocates of Kent County, we've been able to understand a little bit more of what should we be looking for to provide services. And that has really helped us move the needle on accessibility.
And I think that a recent touch tour that one of our shows, Moulin Rouge, provided was truly for Megan, because you were there that day, an experience of understanding without the in-depth description for someone who is unable to see, to get to feel and to get to understand what's happening on stage when you aren't able to have that ability to fully see the stage. I mean, you came back and were like, wow, I had no idea.
The questions that Nick and Kristen asked during the touch tour were so just spot on. Oh wow, this skirt, it must weigh 20 pounds. When they're dancing, it must stay flat because it's so it's weighted, and that helps her move across the stage in a manner in which they were using their touch to understand.
Yep. So to clarify, a few months ago, you guys put on a touch tour inviting a few of our staff here who are completely blind. So have no ability to see what's going on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
You brought them in and they got to touch what exactly?
Well, so the wardrobe and the props master at the show at Moulin Rouge, they brought out some of the identifiable props that also, like for instance, the sparkling diamond, they referred to the lead actress as the diamond, and they sang several songs about diamonds, and they had the long diamond ropes that the cast and the dancers are wearing, and they got to feel those and imagine how those would be used in those songs. And then, touching the costumes, the detail on the coats and the embroidery, the velvet, the top hats and the silk. And so it takes place at turn of the century Paris. And so imagining what costumes were like then and what people wore, and then being able to feel it and experience it that way really helped that show come alive.
Yeah, but giving them a point of reference, right? Yeah. Before they actually saw the show.
Yeah, so just spitballing an example.
Mm-hmm.
So many people who have no vision might attend, say, Wicked,
mm-hmm.
and they hear the scene talking about Galinda giving Elphaba the hat.
Right.
Might not be able to picture what that hat is, that it's like a traditional witch hat.
Mm-hmm.
And they get a chance to maybe go on one of these touch tours and feel that hat.
Exactly.
And get that information going into it.
Right. And, with Moulin Rouge, one of the things that again, back to the skirts, and there's a lot of can-can dancing. And so the ruffles and the amount of, layers of that skirt, then it helps probably paint a picture in your mind of how are these dancers lifting it up and listening to the music and doing the can-can. It will probably help with, enjoyment of the show and understanding what that might look like.
Now, I will say Wood TV did come out and feature this touch tour featuring Disability Advocates' own Nick Vanderwall and Kristen Kelly, going through this touch tour, giving some of their feedback. So if you want to, I believe that clip should still be available on Wood TV for any of our listeners who want to kind of see what they saw. in that situation. Is this something you guys are planning on continuing to offer?
Well, I think we need to be clear that not every single show does offer this, but we are seeing Broadway shows really get on the bandwagon of making this part of the experience. And it's going to take time, right? This is not something that's been happening overnight by any means, but I think we can see that Broadway is setting the tone, that they are working hard to make sure that every show is accessible in some sort of way.
Mhm.
And so obviously that comes down the filter to here in West Michigan, where we're trying to do as much as we can given the resources that we have.
Right, but I do think that you will see more and more shows offering that touch tour experience. We have Hamilton coming up. We're hoping to have that available this summer when Hamilton's on stage for 2 weeks. And next season we have The Lion King. That's one again that we're really hoping. And Disney does a wonderful job at trying to provide all kinds of accessible options. So I think that's something that we'll be seeing next season as well.
Man, it has been a big couple years of some big name performances coming in.
Yes.
You mentioned Moulin Rouge. We were talking about Wicked earlier.
Mhm.
Now you got Hamilton and Lion King.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Are there any bigger plays?
Well, I think it speaks to what we're doing here and trying to elevate Broadway's exposure in West Michigan. And I think that, these shows are realizing that West Michigan really embraces it, wants to come to these shows. And so we are becoming a hot spot to stop.
I better hurry up and get my tickets for Hamilton.
Yes, you should.
Yes, they go fast, that's for sure. And it'll be the third time it's here, but it doesn't get old for many people. It's such a brilliantly executed performance with so many different genres of music and such important storytelling about our founding fathers, and really still relevant, right? I mean, in the political landscape, it's the show is I think one that's gonna touch home for sure.
And much love to the ASL interpreters for Hamilton, because rapping is fast. And if you've never seen the show, I mean, sometimes I will just watch them and, just be in awe because it is fast paced.
Honestly, and I don't want to take away anything from the performers on the stage, but the ASL interpreters themselves need a massive round of applause.
Absolutely.
They put in some work. I've had ASL interpreters for some of my stand-up performances, and sometimes I feel bad for the things that they have to say in ASL. Right. But other times, I'm just curious as I'm saying things. I'm like, what's the sign for this? And I know some ASL, so I'm sure anybody just take a glance over at the ASL interpreter, learn a new sign or two, and just appreciate how much work goes into those performances. I would assume you guys have maybe 2 or 3 interpreters for every performance.
Yeah, we do. I think it's 3 for Hamilton.
Mm-hmm. So we have Hamilton upcoming, Lion King. Any other shows to get on the radar coming this next season?
We have a full lineup. Starting Water for Elephants kicks off this 25-26 season in the fall, and it's based on a famous novel and movie starring Reese Witherspoon, and so it's sort of set in the Depression era, telling with a traveling circus, and it does have a lot of sort of beautiful artistry, and it has a sort of a folksy soundtrack. It's a really lovely show to open up our season. We have the Book of Mormon returning.
Oh, that's gonna be a great one.
Yeah. That brings in a different audience sometimes. So, and that's what we love about Broadway is that shows appeal to different people. It's not all one type of show. You can have something like The Lion King, which is really, a classic and a favorite for families and for multi-generations. And then you have something like the Book of Mormon, which may, it's got more of the comedy and a little bit of a lot of the sarcasm. And, that's going to bring in a whole new group of people.
So wide range of shows.
Yes.
And some exciting names. I was wondering if there was anything bigger than Lion King. You say Book of Mormon. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to be buying many tickets.
And we have a couple of the recent Tony Award winning shows coming. The Outsiders. I don't know if you're familiar with that classic novel.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrific on stage, and the choreography in that show, and just, it's really cool to see how they adapt it for the stage. And it won the 2024 Tony Award for Best Musical and Choreography. And we are really, really fortunate to be getting that show next season as well. It's one that a lot of markets were hoping to get. So
all original music in
Yeah,
it? 'Cause-
the music was written by Jamestown Revival, if you're familiar with them.
Okay.
So kind of bluegrassy, set in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So it really fits with the piece. And yeah, it's a great, great show. And we have the Great Gatsby coming.
Okay, so now you're just running through all the books that I had since
Yeah.
in high school.
We announced our season a few months ago, and we had tremendous reaction when we announced this lineup, because there's something for everyone. And Juliet, it's a kind of a pop jukebox musical, a lot of familiar tunes that are current hits.
Yeah. Well, you just mentioned something, Don. You said, like, looking back to your high school reading list, we are hoping to be able to partner with the public libraries in the area to, revisit that, because how fun is it to, remind yourself of those moments of reading the book for the first time and then seeing it interpreted in a different way on stage. And so I'm working to see if we could do that. And I know last time we worked with, the Kent District Library, they were able also to provide books, that are bigger print, and sometimes in Braille. So there are opportunities for everyone to really embrace the moment before it actually happens.
So wonderful.
Yeah.
Love to hear it. So let's wrap up with a few, just make sure everybody has this information to find out show schedules and to purchase tickets. Where would one go?
You just head over to BroadwayGrandRapids.com.
Nice and easy URL. BroadwayGrandRapids.com. Okay. Big upcoming show. We're seeing Hamilton is going to be the first big one to keep your eyes out for.
Right, Hamilton, and there'll be a lot of shows going on sale this coming summer. So if you are looking for the Book of Mormon or the Lion King, definitely head to our website. You can actually join what we call our e-club, and you put your email address in and get notified. So if you're looking for those tickets to some of those hotter shows, that's a great way to get them in advance before the show goes on sale to the public. We always send out pre-sales, and all the details on the accessible performances are also listed on every show page on the website.
Yeah. And we should also mention we have a Facebook group. It's GR Boosters. So join that Facebook group. And then we also have a podcast, BGR's Backstage Buzz. So before every opening night, we talk with some of the cast members. We talk also with some of our nonprofit partners that are working with us on that show.
Lovely. And where can that podcast be found?
You can find it on Apple and also Spotify.
Lovely. When we're talking about those accessible shows, the ASL show is every Saturday matinee.
Correct.
Yeah. Sunday evening.
Sunday matinee.
Sunday matinee is
open caption and audio description, live audio description.
And all shows have the open gala option.
Exactly.
For closed captioning and language translation,
as well as audio description. So we do have it's a pre-taped, it's not a live audio description, but for those patrons who can't come to that Sunday matinee audio described performance, they can go to the other ones and use the Gala Pro app. And it's best to call our office, because not every show has on the Gala Pro has the audio description, but certain ones do, and same with the language translation. So the bigger shows like Hamilton are going to have it, but sometimes smaller ones, it's best to call our office or check our website for the details.
Wonderful. Love to hear it. Super excited. My wallet might be empty coming at the end of this summer with all these shows coming into town, but
it's so worth it.
My wife will be very happy. As will I. Thank you guys so much. Again, keep an eye out for Broadway Grand Rapids, their upcoming shows, and like and subscribe their podcast as well when you like and subscribe to ours. Thank you all. Broadway Grand Rapids. Can't thank them enough for sharing their time with us and all the efforts that they put in to make sure that their shows are inclusive to all. I know I'm in the process of getting my tickets to Hamilton and most likely a couple more shows for this upcoming season, as they truly have a killer lineup. And speaking of the killer shows that they have, I think I can cue up our next guest with a famous song from one of their more recent shows there. So our next guest will be defying gravity as we sit down and chat with three amazing individuals over at the Gerald R. Ford International Airport, a truly inclusive gateway into our fabulous community. Thank you all, and have yourselves a fantastic day. Recording. Once again, this has been John Couchy with Flattening the Curb, a podcast brought to you by Disability Advocates. For more information on our organization, engage with us on social media and visit our website at dakc.us. Like and subscribe, hit that notification bell to be alerted when our next episode drops. And remember, you can't have inclusion without accessibility. So let's build a more inclusive world, one story at a time.